Namaste everyone and welcome to my channel. So today's video is about diet in pregnancy. It's a highly requested video because diet is a cause of stress and anxiety for a lot of us. So I thought I would share with you some tips and rules that have helped me go through my pregnancies easily, and hopefully they'll help you as well. Help you identify which foods to eat and which foods to avoid.
ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्.
Ideally, you need to start changing your diet 3 months before you try for a baby. That's the whole preconception period, which I've made a video about, so please check that out. But if not, you can change your diet as soon as you know you're pregnant, because diet is one of the main pillars for being healthy, and if you carry a child, it's even more important. I've taken some notes, so I suggest you get some pen and paper, because I'll be sharing some very useful, important that I found nowhere, and my mom gave it to me. She's an Ayurvedic doctor, so that's why I thought, because I couldn't find it anywhere, I thought I would share with you guys because it has really helped me. So let's just get started. Rule number 1 is to eat Sattvic food. So what is Sattvic? Anything that is pure, clean, fresh, organic, that's not been processed by any machinery, doesn't contain any preservatives, chemicals, toxins, colors, and that's homemade and cooked with love. And that's why the consciousness, Ayurveda says that the consciousness with which you cook, that energy goes into the food you cook. So that's why mom's cooking is really appreciated, because they have that magical element that goes in the food, that is love. So yeah, eat your mom's food if you can't. If not, you can always cook at home, which is always more Sattvic than eating outside food. So eating Sattvic will raise your ojas, which is your your immunity, your light, your energy, your strength, and also raise your vibrational level, which is your mind, affects your mind, and so you become more positive and more healthy, more happy. So yeah, so the ultimate Sattvic food is something that is homemade, organic, cooked with love. Yeah, so that's the definition. So nowadays there are so many pesticides used in our food. It's not the same at all 100 years ago, or when Ayurveda was written 5,000 years ago, that Sattvic food would at least mean organic food. Pesticides and chemicals mess up with our hormonal balance, so it affects our fertility as well. If you just Google pesticides and miscarriages of pesticides and fertility, you'll see loads of studies which are absolutely crazy, that have linked the use of pesticides with miscarriages, which is heartbreaking, because we are not aware of that as much as I would like it to be. So switch. If you want to retain anything from this video, just switch to organic. That's the one thing you need to remember from this video, if not anything. So switch all your staple food to organic, starting with dairy. Now, milk is given a lot of importance in Ayurveda. It is the number 1 Sattvic food, because it contains all the nutrients, vitamins, minerals, for a baby to implant and grow properly. So the ideal milk would be sourced, if you can, from a farmer where the cows are treated nicely, they're roaming around, they are grass fed, and the first milk is given to the calf, and then the rest is kept for everybody else. And that would be the best milk. Now, if you can't, because nowadays milk is so much processed and heated at high temperatures and sold in supermarkets in plastic bottles, at least get the organic milk, because it won't contain the antibiotics and the hormones that the milk has usually. Cows are given a lot of hormones so that the milk production is increased, and those hormones will affect your hormones, because if you drink a lot of milk, obviously your hormones will be affected. And yeah, drink milk twice, morning and before going to bed. I will leave the recipe of the milk for pregnancy and fertility here, so you can check that out. So wheat flour, you change your wheat flour to organic wholemeal wheat flour. If you're Indian, you must be making chapatis every day. I get the brand 24 Mantra in the UK. I'm sure you can find it in the US and India as well. Now, third thing you need to change to organic is grains. Now, rice is very, very sattvic according to Ayurveda, so you can eat rice with ghee, or make some kheer. Or if you're tired of rice every day, just try oats. Are very, very good. Oats and quinoa are full of protein. Then you can try millet, maize. All these are very good, and it gives you all the calories you need during your your second and third trimester. So you need about 300 to 500 calories extra a day, so you can get that from all the grains you eat. So make sure you eat properly those grains. Now, pulses, you can get yellow and green split grams to make khichdi, which is excellent. So make sure you eat all the dals and lentils as well, because they'll provide the protein for the baby to grow properly. Now, all your oils, make sure you get the organic, extra virgin, cold pressed oils. So I use sesame oil, which is good for all three doshas, but you can also use olive oil, which is really good in salads and raw food, because you can't heat it too much. And coconut oil is really good for pregnancy as well. It has a lot of nutrition. Then all your spices, switch them to organic. The recommended spices for pregnancy are cumin, coriander, fennel, turmeric, cardamom, and saffron. So make sure you get good quality of these ingredients. Avoid too much of mustard seeds or fenugreek, especially in your first trimester, where it's the most sensitive and fragile, because they will increase your pitta and vata. Once you're full term, after 37 weeks, traditionally we start eating methi, which is methi bag, which is made out of fenugreek powder to increase the air element and start the labor. So it is a slow process, but eventually it will help you deliver and avoid induction. I had that during after I was full term, but obviously it means you need to avoid that during the whole of your pregnancy, and especially your first trimester, to avoid a miscarriage. Now, non-veg is not sattvic according to Ayurveda, especially red meat, so avoid that as much as possible. Then onion and garlic and cheese are not very sattvic either, and you might be put off by their smell in the first trimester with all the nausea. That's what I had. I didn't like the smell of it, so avoided it, and it's actually good because it's not sattvic. Now, your sugar and salt, make sure you use good quality sugar. Avoid the white highly refined sugar. switch to at least unrefined brown sugar, or ideally you can use jaggery or honey. All these are really healthy. And then salt, now avoid the table salt, which is harmful for your health, and switch to pink Himalayan salt, which is very alkaline and it has more minerals than the table salt. And I, in my third trimester, also got a low sodium salt because I had high blood pressure. So it's best to avoid too much salt altogether. Now all your fruits, peach, banana, mango, coconut, avocado are really good during pregnancy. You can eat them as much as you want, and eat them in the morning before lunch or around 11. It's really good. Then vegetables, potatoes, or even better sweet potatoes, because it has more nutrition. Broccoli, spinach, kale, generally all the dark leafy vegetables are recommended because they'll provide the iron and the antioxidants, which are really which will increase your immunity, and also the fiber, which will prevent constipation if you suffer from that. Nuts and seeds are excellent afternoon snacks filled with nutrition, especially protein and zinc, which are really, really important for fertilization and cell growth. Soaked almonds, cashews, walnuts, chia, and sunflower seeds are a must have during preconception and pregnancy. Rule number, I don't know which one I was at. 2 is to keep your pitta and vata into balance. Now, if you're unknown to Ayurveda, vata is the air and ether, pitta is the air, pitta is the fire and water, and earth is the water and earth. And now you all have these different elements in different proportions, but as a general guidelines, because these are guidelines, you should always eat according to your dosha first, but as a guideline, you need to avoid an excess of vata, which is the air element, and pitta, the fire element, and increase your kapha instead, which is the earthy element. Now, the quality of vata foods are dry, rough, raw, cold, and light. So all these foods like leftovers or too much raw, too much salad, or too much light, airy food to be avoided. Even pulses like chickpeas or kidney beans should be eaten occasionally. You can actually add a little bit of asafoetida, which is hing, to kind of take out the gassy element in them. Now, too much of vata can result into miscarriage, or early labor, or gas. My son is calling me. Yes? Now, pitta too much of pitta can result into acidity, heartburn, or even bleeding, though, so you need to avoid that. All the pitta foods are hot and spicy, salty, sour, pungent, and light. So it's all the chilies and masala and pickle and all the junk food. So avoid that as much as possible. Now, increase your kapha. Pregnancy is the kapha period, and which is the more earthy and grounding element. If you increase your kapha, it will give all the nutrition for the baby to implant and grow properly. So kapha type foods are cooked foods, sweet, liquid, warm, grounding, and nutrient dense food are all kapha. And it will also, if you eat a nutrient dense food, it will give you the right calories for your second and third trimester. So the ultimate kapha foods are milk, as we discussed, ghee, soaked almonds are all very recommended in Ayurveda. Rule number 3 is to eat local and seasonal. So try to source all the fruits and vegetables that grow around you and at that very moment, because they will have the most prana, which is the life energy, and it will give you the most nutrition and most potency. Eating Ayurvedic food doesn't necessarily mean eating Indian. As long as you understand the principles of Ayurveda I explained earlier, the three doshas and the quality of the foods, I think if you know that, it will help you eat properly and healthy. Rule number 4 is to give in to your cravings. Now, in Ayurveda, it is said that the cravings of the mother are the wishes of the baby. So, if you don't satisfy them, it will increase the air element and lead to developmental issues with the baby. My simple rule during pregnancy was eating 80 to 90% healthy and 10-20% less healthy, and if I had any craving for any junk food, I would actually make them at home. So I love pizza, so I would get all the ingredients and make them at home. I love Mexican wraps, so I would also get everything to make Mexican wraps. Actually, that's the meal I had before giving birth. That might have helped actually, because it's quite spicy. But in your third trimester, it's okay to eat a little bit spicy. So yeah, the important thing here is not to obsess about food or feel guilty or shame. It's actually to enjoy your food and have a positive attitude. The baby, after a few months in your womb, starts feeling the taste of the food you eat actually. So you can develop his taste sense from a very early stage, which is from your womb. So it's actually good to eat healthy, but not feel guilty about anything you eat randomly occasionally. So rule number 5 is to keep it simple. I used to love reading recipe books and then select one and say, okay, I'm gonna make this one, but when I read the list of ingredients, I wouldn't have half of them, so it would put me off cooking. So just keep it simple. Have the least ingredients recipes basically. All these recipe books have like expensive and fancy ingredients. Forget about them. Just eat your traditional food, and just keep your ingredients as minimum as possible, because it will be more healthy and it will motivate you to cook. That's the most important thing. So you can actually have 3 meals that you can cook under 20 minutes, especially like if you back from work, you're hungry, you're tired, you're pregnant, and all you think about is food. That's what happened to me. And so if I know that I can make something very quick under 20 minutes, I'll be like, okay, I'll get home and make that. Instead of I'll be otherwise tempted to get something from outside, which is really not healthy food, with lots of sugar and salt and unhealthy oils. So you want to avoid that. So yeah, also you can do a meal plan for the whole week, so you know exactly what you need. It helps you for your grocery shopping, but also you don't have to think about every day like, oh, what am I going to cook for lunch, what am I going to cook for dinner. So yeah, have that kind of meal plan. And then rule number 6 is actually not about food, but food containers and food cookware. So avoid plastic as much as possible in all your food containers, lunch boxes, water bottles. You can buy like steel or copper bottles nowadays you can find, because bits of plastic go into your food and that can cause even cancer. So that's really dangerous. Plastic is dangerous for your health, and it's also not ecological and sustainable anyway, which we all know. But yeah, so avoid plastic. And then Also try to avoid how do you say, tefal. All the coating that it has goes into your body and is dangerous. Instead go with stainless steel. Oh, avoid aluminium as well. A lot of Indian families still have aluminium cookers and pans, so get rid of them. It's dangerous. Instead cook with stainless steel cookers or pans. Then you can also get the clay pots, which are really healthy because it provides all the minerals that go into your body and are really good for you. And then you have also cast iron, which also provides a little bit of iron when you cook your food. So yeah, that's all my tips and rules. Hopefully you found these tips useful. My main thing is, if you want to remember, main things you want to remember from this video is to, first of all, switch to organic food. Secondly, it is not to obsess about food too much, and have a positive attitude about it. And you want to, third thing is that you want to avoid outside food and eat homemade food, which is more sattvic and more healthy for you. And then obviously you know that diet is one of the main pillars in Ayurveda. That's what makes your body, and that's what makes the body of your baby. But there are also other aspects which are really important for your health and the health of your baby, which is your lifestyle, your exercise, your sleep, and your mindset. I've done a video about mindset in pregnancy, so check that out. But all these different elements will affect your baby and yourself. So remember that. So yeah, I hope this video has been useful, and if you did find it useful, just leave it a thumbs up, and see you in my next one. Bye.